Watch this guy. He's trying to steal my cougar from me. I don't think so, buddy. Alright, so I'm in Benedict Point, southeast of Tumbleweed right now, talking to Hector, picking up the mission On the Hunt. It's a mission where most of you probably already know. Our task is to go kill a wolf and bring it back to Benedict Point. As you can see, Hector's telling me about it right now, but I'm telling you more. We're going to go kill some cougars too. And we're going to kill so many cougars during this period that we're going to bring in a total of $159.85. We get 0.32 gold bar. You can see the map there where we're going. I'm going to speed this up, do some time lapsing so that you don't have to waste time watching me ride on trails, because no one wants to waste time with that. I will put down in the description a link to a video which will be unlisted that you can view this without time lapse if you so desire. So check for that if you want. Now, my first trip up here, there's no cougar. But that's okay because I know how to make them spawn. So you just look away and then look back and they'll spawn. So what I like to do is I just like to spin and then I'll use the aim lock, the aim assist, and I like to use a varmint rifle because it's definitely faster than the bolt action. And if there's a cougar there, it will lock on it. If there's not, then I'll just keep spinning. I'm just like tapping the aim down sights button and I'm not looking at the screen when I'm doing it. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the radar. So when I come around right as I'm about to be facing north on the radar, I aim down sights. Because if I look at the screen, it makes me really dizzy. So I use the radar to determine when I'm coming north and then aim down sights. And I notice on the radar now at this point, and another nice thing is then you have your eyes on the radar. See, like, I notice right now that someone's coming up ghosted on me right now. I don't know what this is. This is something that I've seen on other YouTube videos, but I've never really explored how to do it. I don't know what they're doing. I'm relieved he didn't kill me, because I really didn't want to deal with some exploiting griefer. So I don't know if this person's trying to hunt cougar ghosted or what's going on here, but my cougar spawns when they're there and they run towards it. I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's really odd. But they let me take and kill it and then they run off. So I don't know what to think of it. Like, I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to play out. But fortunately, it didn't end up being a problem. So hopefully, if you run into that kind of a scenario, it won't be a problem for you either. I don't really know what they're doing. I don't really want to know what they're doing. I don't care to do something like that. That's not my play style. No, I'm just not into doing that kind of thing. But more power to him. If he's having fun doing it, then, you know, knock yourself out. I appreciate the fact that you're not griefing me when you're doing it, dude. So now let's run this into the butcher. And we'll just be coming right back out here and spawning another one. Now, yes, keep an eye out on this ridge as you're coming into Tumbleweed, because you can find a hawk here sometimes. And I like to shoot the rock below it and get it to fly off the rock. And then it will fly out just far enough to where I'll tap, you know, I'll one-tap it, and then it will drop to where I can get it without having to climb the rock. Now, you might be able to shoot it while it's perched and be lucky and have it fall down. But I'm sure there's a chance of it getting stuck up there too, and you being left with the task of going up the hill and getting it. So I always like to just scare them off of it and then shoot them while they're flying. And then too, I like to sell just the cougar and the hide here. I'm gonna hang on to the fangs and the meat, because that way I'm not wasting time every trip selling those. Save a couple seconds. Fortunately, nobody griefed us at the butcher. It's been a good day so far. Having a good time with this hunt. I actually like this method a lot. This is actually a lot of fun to get paid gold to hunt these cougars. You get that little extra XP boost from doing the mission, the wolf mission. It's just, sometimes it can be crazy too, because you'll get the mission from Hector and then you'll notice Tumbleweed's full of a whole bunch of people PvPing, and then you're like, oh man, how am I going to be hitting the butcher back and forth over and over with a cougar if it's a madhouse of PvP? That happened to me the last time I ran this mission, And I just was like having a crazy time PvPing while I was waiting for my mission to end. Like, there were so many people that people ended up going into the mission area where the wolf was after it was down past 14 minutes. And they found my wolf and killed it. And I had to go PvP with people in order just to get my wolf back. And then when I got back to Benedict Point, there were like a 4-man posse waiting to gun me down after I turned in the wolf. I mean, like, they ended up killing me. Sure, what are you gonna do? Like, you're coming out of a mission. You're coming like you don't have any control really over your character for a moment. I mean, like, they just tackled me, and while one of them was on top of me, and I was tapping B to get out of it, another one shot me in the head. You know, I got my mission done though, and prior to them griefing me that way, I was wrecking those fools. You know this. But anyway, about that. That's our second cougar now? Or our third cougar? I don't know. I've lost count already how many cougars I've taken in. But you can see the routine here. Oh, and like why I'm not doing the mission yet. You're probably like sitting there wondering, like, what is this guy? He's not doing the mission. It says go to Gaptooth Ridge. If you wait 15 minutes, a viewer named Storm650 told me about this. You wait 15 minutes before you start the mission, and then you wait the 20 minutes during the mission, so a total of 35 minutes, and you will get the maximum payout of 0.32 gold, $28, and 620 XP. Now you can see it took me 36 minutes and 19 seconds here. I don't know how there was an extra minute and 19 seconds. Oh, okay, because like obviously it ended up being 16 minutes and 19 seconds that I waited before starting the mission. So there's an extra minute and 19 seconds I could have cut off of this, which would have increased our earnings per hour just a little bit. You know, not a whole lot, because a minute and 19 seconds off of 35 minutes is... It has significance, but it's not enough to make it like, oh my god, you know, it's not going to be like $300 an hour. It's going to be, you know, maybe $5 more an hour tops. I don't think even that. So, I'm spinning, and I'm looking, and I'm spinning, and I'm looking. This is one of the longer times that it ends up taking me in order to get the cougars back. And I'm wondering if I set a timer, if I can determine what the time is on this too, because I feel like sometimes I've gotten it to spawn in like 3 minutes, but other times it takes like 5 or 7 minutes. So I feel like the time, I don't even know. I feel like there might be some sort of a time delay, but that's incredibly variable. So spinning around is really just the way to you know, get that dice to roll to see if it's going to spawn. Because it might be like every time you look at it that there's a dice roll. And that dice roll, you know, like a random number is generated. I don't mean like a dice roll. There's not like physically a die rolling. But a random number is generated, and I'm referring to that random number generation as a dice roll. So there's a dice roll, and that dice roll is, you know, what determines if you see a cougar there or not. And the longer it's been since you've seen a cougar there, the more likely it is that you will get a cougar to spawn regardless of what your dice roll is. So that like at 3 minutes, let's say it's a 20-sided die, you might have to roll a 1 in order to see a cougar in 3 minutes. So only 5% of the time will you be able to get a cougar to spawn every 3 minutes. But say at 7 minutes, it might not matter what die number you roll. 1 or 20, it just doesn't even matter at that point. You're going to see a cougar. And then like maybe at 5 minutes, it might be 1 through 10 on the die roll. You know, 50% of the time you might see a cougar. That's how it seems to me. So if you guys, you know, have any input on that, you're free to comment down below. But that's the way this is kind of feeling to me, is these spawn rates, they seem random with a probability that increases over time. So by spinning around over and over and over, you keep rolling the die in order to eventually get the right number to spawn that cougar. And the longer you do it for, the higher the odds of it coming are. That's kind of how I'm playing it, at least. See, now I ran down and started the mission, And I come back up and the cougar's here, and I take a shot and I get it running at me, but then someone comes over the hill. So I kill the cougar, and then like I feel like, yeah, this guy might want a PvP, so I'm going to switch to my explosive ammo. And sure enough, he's coming right at me. He draws on me. As soon as he draws on me, I'm putting lead in him. And I'm glad I did too, because he took my hat off. I thought this was going to turn into a little bit of a fight, but fortunately he recognized that it wasn't necessary. He can just switch servers and go hunt somewhere else. We don't need to fight over the server. I can't really switch though. I'm here on a mission earning gold right now. If I switch servers, then I'm going to lose my mission. So I'm glad that he recognized that it was just time for him to move along, because this would have turned into, instead of a hunting mission, a PvP mission. So that's one of those things. It just happens every once in a while. You get caught up in PvP while you're doing this, and there might be times where you end up failing the mission because of it. You know, that's something that can happen, and honestly, don't get mad over it. Just look at it like it's adding content to your game, because really we're just here playing a video game. Anything that causes you to fail and sets you back, don't get upset over it. Look at it like, oh wow, I got more content now. You know, like that's, like I've lost just to getting disconnected where the screen comes up and it says, you know, Rockstar's fault. A couple times during these missions that's happened to me. And I'm like, well, you know, I could be really mad over that. Or I could just be like, well, I just got to start over. It's more content. I am playing a beta game. So in that situation, it's like, if it's in beta or beta, then I got to just take what I can out of it. I can't get mad at them for getting disconnected. But, I mean, in a PvP situation, too, it's kind of the same thing. It's just setting you back. But that's just more content. That's more time that you can sit down and enjoy and play the game to recover whatever it is you were doing. So I notice it's there. I can pick up on it because the aim assist catches it. And I like to put a shot in over its head. You probably noticed me do that every time. My first shot always misses. That's intentional, because that causes that cougar to charge at me. And you'll notice a couple times during this episode, I try putting my horse over the cougar like I'm doing now, because it will cause a quicker skinning. See like how fast I skinned it there? Well, aside from the time lapse. It doesn't go through the entire animation of skinning it when you do that. But, oh man, it makes me nervous that I'm going to tread on it and lose a star. And also, there's one time like I did that and then I couldn't pick the cougar up. The only options I was getting was to like get on my horse or open my horse's inventory. Like I couldn't get the X for cougar. So then I had to tell my horse to follow me and walk away from the cougar so the horse would follow me, because I didn't want to send it away with flee, because then I got to wait to call it. And if I get on it and start walking with it, I didn't want to risk stepping on the cougar. I don't know. I don't really like doing that. I think I would rather just wait and skin it with the extra couple second animation, honestly. Unless, like, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe there's a better way to do it. And I like the fact that the skinning animation is quicker. What I don't like is not being able to pick the carcass up afterwards, because the only options I have are to deal with my horse. So if I could, like, tap on the left bumper or the right bumper to switch what I'm targeting, that would be great, but it doesn't seem to be an option in that situation. That's just when, like, there's numerous carcasses there. So we have 10 minutes and 44 seconds. That's going to be time for probably, what, 2 more cougars, you think? Maybe just 1. I think actually this is going to be our last cougar. Oh yeah, I think what happens is after this cougar, when I go to the butcher, I look at the map and I see that there's a whole bunch of people up here, and I decide I don't have enough time to go risk getting into a PvP situation and still be able to ensure getting the wolf down south. So I decided to go for the wolf and take all, you know, when I take the wolves out, I'll take one of the beta wolves back. I tried taking both of the beta wolves back to the butcher. But, you know, when you take a second horse and you go back to the butcher, I find the butcher gets all weird. Like funny things happen, like any hides that you have on your main horse are no longer available to sell to the butcher. I've lost hides because of that. So I'm gonna quit doing that. I'm a single horse kind of guy. I don't want to deal with losing stuff because I'm trying to use a second horse. Sure, you'll gain stuff doing that too, but it's just like a line I don't want to walk. I don't care to figure out the mechanics in order to benefit. Now, it's mainly just the hides are the problem. The carcasses you can take off the horse and sell. But if I have hides on my main horse and then I get on a second horse and I'm using it at the butcher, for some reason the butcher won't buy the hides off my main horse. I don't get it, but maybe somebody has a video on how to fix that problem or how to handle it. See, now I'm looking at the map and I see there's like 3 or 4 people up there, so I decided to turn around and head south instead. Now I like to use my Springfield as well as my bolt action here. The bolt action I load with explosive rounds, and I'll take out the Alpha Wolf with that in a headshot. And then the Springfield I have loaded with split point, and then I'll switch to the Springfield. Now I take the Alpha Wolf out first if I can. Like that. Ideally, you take the Alpha Wolf out first, because then, without aggroing, like you want to headshot it without aggroing it. You don't want those wolves to know you're there, and take that Alpha Wolf out in one shot. And when you do that, it will prevent these wolves from showing up on any other player's radar. If you aggro these wolves and these wolves know you're there, then they'll show up on everybody's radar that's in the area. And they'll show up until you kill them. Once you kill them, they won't show up on the radar anymore. So what I'll do is try and kill them without aggroing them, and then they never show up on the radar. And then I'm going to run the Beta Wolf to the butcher. In the meantime, just for safety's sake, I'm going to throw my Alpha Wolf in a bush so nobody can see it. Now I'm going to run up to the butcher, and I know that Alpha Wolf will not despawn. The second Beta Wolf will despawn. And when you go to the butcher, you're going to have to take the carcass for the wolf off of your horse in order to sell it. Because these are mission animals, for some reason, the butcher will not buy them when they're on your horse. So keep that in mind as well. And while I'm here, I'm going to sell off these other supplies. And yes, I did notice that at one point I was full. I had 10 cougar fangs. Then I went out and killed another cougar. And I ended up not being able to pick up 2 fangs off of a cougar. So I actually lost $1 on this mission. If this would have been done properly, then it would have been $160.85. And I might have seen some birds along the way that I hadn't noticed in the sky either. But I wouldn't shoot those until after bagging the cougar, because if you shoot a bird, I feel like it might have some sort of play into getting that cougar to respawn quicker or not. I'm not sure, but I feel like every time I shoot a bird, it slows down the cougar spawn. So if I'm going to shoot a bird, I like to do it after I've killed the cougar and I'm on my way back to the butcher, and then I'll kill birds. So now we're waiting for the timer to go down. I kind of like daydreamed a little bit there. I was like, last second I realized, oh crap, I got a couple seconds left, and ran in. And we're going to get our payout. Comes out to 0.53 gold bars per hour. $264 per hour and 1,545 XP per hour. And you can see on the radar, well, at the end, there's PvP going on. So I went and jumped into some PvP after this. And I have that coming up in another video. I do appreciate you tuning in today. Thanks for viewing. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, thumbs up. Till next time, happy hunting.